Reverend Grosk, it's good to be back. We're side by side this week.
We're side by side. The wonders of technology, the advancement of learning how to press a few buttons on Zoom and work out all the settings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, I'd have been there straight away if I'd have been asked, but I just left it for you to find out, of course.
Well, that was it. I've got to have something to do in these lockdown times and learn how to.
I think that's the problem with lockdown. We've all become experts in things we weren't expert in before.
Yes, there's still lots more to learn on Zoom, I think, on how it all works.
Yes, I would agree entirely. Well, yeah. We're going ahead with the Zoom meeting for Deanery Synod in a month's time.
Oh, Deanery Synod on Zoom. We're going to have breakout rooms there as well.
If we can work out how to do them, yes.
Well. Mr. Technical David Reverend Baldwin.
Yeah, no, well, I leave it to others so that don't appear to be showing off. You realise this, don't you?
Yes, I do, of course.
Good. I think it's something to detail the curate to find out. I'm sure that it's a learning package for her, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, curates have got to be able to be adaptable to all these things, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah, good task.
Good task. We're very lucky. We have 3 very adaptable curates in the deanery, so that's good.
Yes, they are very, very clever.
They are compared to us. So there we are. So here we are again today, and we've got another one of those wonderful stories from John's Gospel, often referred to as signs, I think, or things, aren't they? Miracles, signs.
Yes.
And we're going to read it to me, but we need to have a pause. Read on, dear Christopher.
Read on. So today we're reading from John chapter 2. On the 3rd day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish purification rites, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. And when the steward tasted the water that had become wine, and did not know where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him.
Often that's referred to as the first miracle of Jesus, and whether it was or not, I guess we'll never know. But because it's recorded in John's Gospel as the first one, we often refer to it, I think, as the first miracle. But there's so much in there. Now, Christopher, you've got a very interesting statistic about this reading that you shared with me earlier, and that's exactly how many bottles of wine were made. Would you like to go through the mathematical formula and share with us?
Well, I could do. It always amazes me that you get the bit after everybody had too much to drink, we had the good wine. And the good wine, it just says 6 stone water jars, each holding between 20 and 30 gallons. Now, I was sad enough one day to do the maths, and A gallon is 4.5 litres. So 30 gallons times 4.5 litres, and then divide that by 0.7, because a bottle of wine is 0.7 of a litre. And you come out somewhere between, I think, 776 and 1,074 bottles of wine. A lot of wine is all I can say, after everybody had too much to eat. And it was good wine.
Only the best from Jesus.
Only the best from Jesus. I did read a commentary once that said actually that Cana was noted for its poor quality wine. So maybe it wasn't too hard for Jesus to make good wine.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you also had another fascinating thought about this, about whether or not it was proper of Jesus to make lots of good wine when people had already had far too much. If you'd like to expand on that.
Well, we do, because, like you say, they'd already had too much. He made 1,000 bottles. Okay, we're not quite sure how big the wedding was. But even if there's 1,000 people at the wedding, that's an extra bottle each after they were already drunk. And don't we often read in the Bible and Jesus telling everybody to be holy people, to be sober? And you've almost got the first sign of Jesus encouraging people to drink too much.
Now, that's an interesting point, because the word sober, of course, can also mean good and upright. Which I guess if you were drunk
after drinking all that wine.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had another bottle on top, you wouldn't be. No, that's very, very true. Well, and Paul, of course, often refers to drunken people. I mean, yesterday morning's morning prayer reading was a good example about drunkenness and debauchery, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very complicated. I've always found that reading fascinating for the way that Jesus just dismisses his mother in what seems such a cruel manner, really, for someone who tells us, that you quite rightly said, that we should be good and holy and true. You know, the dismissive woman. What's it got to do with you? And without looking back, as we've said, to the Hebrew translation of what was actually said, I guess it was just a complete put down. What's it got? Yeah, forget the woman bit. What's it got to do with you, mother? Yeah, it's such.
It says to you and to me. In other words, it's not my wedding; it's the host's problem.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Jesus' mother, being a mother, just ignores him and says, "Well, go on, servants, just do what Jesus says. He'll sort it."
He'll sort it.
And he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did in a big way.
In a big way.
Oh, in a big way. So the very end is interesting, because at the end of it all, Jesus did his first sign, it tells us, which revealed his glory. But it was only after he'd done that and revealed his glory, apparently, that the disciples believed in him.
So how does that match with what we talked about last week with Philip and Nathaniel saying we found the Messiah, as Jesus called them?
Exactly, which just proves that some of the gospel passages, are they just flung together? Who decided on the order of chapters 1, 2, and 3, etc.? I think it shows the fact that as we read through the scripture, we have to accept the fact that the order of it and the timing of it doesn't necessarily all come as we perhaps think about it. We talked about, I think the last one Joe and I did of Rev Chat before she went on to a sabbatical. We talked about the kind of timelines, of the wise men arriving, or the shepherds, or the wise men arriving, and all the flight to Egypt. It all reads as if it happened just one day after another, doesn't it? But in reality, it was probably spread over quite a long time.
Quite a long time. And of course, as with so many people, coming to belief is not necessarily a light bulb moment.
No.
At 9:59, I didn't believe. At 10 o'clock, I did. The coming to belief and the realization of who somebody is, and even if somebody says this is the Messiah, the chosen one of God, even then, if you leave that, to actually understand what that means to you and to turn into an active faith can take quite a period of time. We're not all just revealed by the light of Paul on the Damascus Road.
No, absolutely. And I've always thought about this story in a way, this idea of revealing and coming to know Jesus, that actually what Jesus is doing through what we believe is this act of turning 1,000 bottles of wine out at short notice, it is the fact that what he's actually showing us is what is to come. There will only be better to come, better wine instead of inferior wine in the new kingdom. As we follow and come to know Jesus for ourselves, it will be a better place with better opportunity for us all. If that makes any sense.
And we probably need that hope more than anything at the moment, don't we? That there's better to come.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. As many people, I think, on this second lockdown, because that's what you're referring to, are starting perhaps to struggle even more with the fact of being isolated or alone. I've certainly picked that up with a few of the people I've been in touch with, either by phone or on emails. You know, that it's beginning to the stress of being alone for so long or isolated for so long really does need that great hope. One or two have said to me, it's only by hanging on to, you know, what we know and what our faith is about that's allowing us to get through this time.
Well, that's right. It does, you know, and it's a lot harder this time, I think, because we're in the depths of winter. Mm-hmm. We don't have a nice lot of sunshine to go out and enjoy.
No, that's very true. And it's interesting because I'm reading a book at the moment, which the First Lady of the Rectory actually bought me last year, and I started to read and got halfway through and then stopped. And it's easy to pick up because it's not a story. It's actually a book about the nature of winter.
Right.
And last night I was reading the chapter I was reading is about the arrival of the golden eagle, because it's all about he's a Scottish nature writer. He's written many books apparently, you know, and as article he has a regular column in some of the Scottish newspapers. But what he was saying is we forget actually that as January starts to fade through, we're actually through the worst times of darkness, because from the 21st of December, the nights are getting shorter and the daylight hours are getting longer, even if it's minuscule. You know, and so the positivity to hang on to from what you've said is that actually we are starting to turn towards the light as opposed to the darkness that we seem to experience at the moment.
Well, we do, and if you want to carry on my interesting facts, I think as of now, our evening is about half an hour, 40 minutes longer than it was.
Yeah. Turn off a second. Oh.
Well, there we go. David's dog has disturbed him mid-flow. He's just got to go and sort his little dog out.
Keep on talking, Chris. Keep talking.
So David's gone to sort his animals out. So some other thoughts. Well, I think we were in the middle of that. Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee. He revealed his glory. His disciples believed in him. I wonder what they actually believed. I wonder what those disciples believed, and maybe that's something that, dear viewer, you can think about as the days go on. What is it that's been revealed to you? What signs did you see reveal his disciples, and what was it that made you believe in Jesus? Welcome back, David.
Oh, well, no, that's just awful. The bloodhound who was laid so quietly next to me here heard a tap on the door. It's the men come to mend the water leak apparently under the drive.
Oh.
They were meant to have rang us to tell us they were on their way, and obviously haven't done so. So water could be turning into wine on my drive.
Oh, there you go.
It was meant to happen. The contact was meant to. The connection was meant to.
So you're going to go and get a hose pipe from the end of your drive back into your kitchen. So
buckets, anything, the bath. Yeah, absolutely. There we are. Well, thank you for carrying on, Chris. That was very good. I can see the professionalism has already kicked in after only one previous Rev Chat. It's marvellous.
This idea of turning into film stars or social media influencers, It's the modern
Right.
term, isn't it?
Well, as we come to an end, did you have anybody stopping you in Loaders High Street for your autograph after last week's appearance?
No, because they're all indoors. But I'm sure they would have flocked out to the paper for an autograph if they hadn't been locked indoors.
Yeah, I know it's awfully difficult. It is awfully difficult.
And they couldn't even flock.
But there we are
on Sunday because that was all online as well.
It was. Which is a good moment to remind everybody that, of course, you can continue to join in with other aspects of what we're doing. Rev Chat will appear later in the week. Thanks, Harry, again. And services for all of the various teams, certainly in our deanery, will be on their normal platforms. And Harry, again, as he always does, will put underneath that you can contact us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and the Beaminster Area Team, etc., etc. You probably know it. We've been doing it for 12 months. So thank you all very much for joining in again. Thank you, Chris. Will you come back again next week?
Well, I think now the technology's working, we're going to have to give it another go, aren't we? Well, hopefully the technology.
We are. Well, there we are. Well, thank you all very much. Good to see you. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.